We'll skate like lightning with pride on our side. Skate hard, play smart, show no fear. We are the warriors, the moment is near. On this frozen stage, we're kings of the night. With thunderous hits and goals in our sight. In the heart of the battle, we rise and we shine. Together as one, we're forever alive.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the NHL segment of the All Sports Podcast. This is Alejandro, back at it again with Senor Cody. What's going on, man?
What is up, everybody? So today, October 22nd, Tuesday, we took about a week off from doing the NHL segment. I was a little bit sick. I had laryngitis. I couldn't talk for a few days, so we had to push things back a little bit. But we're back. A lot's happened in the last week. We're 2 weeks into the season now. A little over 2 weeks, I think, right?
Yeah, a little over.
Yeah, so a lot's been happening so far. So we'll just start with like the standings. Looking at the standings, we got the New Jersey Devils at the top of the league right now. Keep in mind, the Devils have played 8 games. They played more games than everybody else. So they have a little bit of a jump there. They're at 11 points over the Winnipeg Jets in second. They have 10 points. They're actually tied with Dallas for 10 points. So, yeah, once everybody catches up, the Devils could get knocked back a few spots, but we'll see what happens with that. They've been having a pretty good year so far. They've had just 2 losses, 1 overtime loss, so they're looking good so far.
I mean, compared to last season when they were literally like at the bottom of the standings, you know, seeing them be number one is kind of a good thing, but also kind of like shocking that how, again, it's in the beginning of the season, like you said, so it's kind of different, but.
Yeah, we're just getting started. I mean, the Devils did have a little bit of trouble with their goaltending last year. They've made some adjustments now, so I think they're going to be a lot stronger team this year. They did end up like pretty low on the division. But yeah, they're definitely a playoff contender for this year, in my opinion.
Well, that's always good to see. Tri-state area love.
Yeah, and then, you know, we got the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars going strong off the jump. Both some really strong teams from last year. They were both in the playoffs last year. And then you got the Rangers right behind them in 4th place. So the Rangers are actually coming out pretty strong as well. They have just 1 overtime loss. So 4 wins, 1 overtime loss. So no regular time losses as of now. They're going to be playing tonight. I got to look at some of the other teams that are playing tonight too. And then, you know, there was a couple teams that stood out to me. Like the Colorado Avalanche. They are off to a little bit of a rocky start, as well as Edmonton. Edmonton was our Stanley Cup contenders last year. They ended up losing to Florida, but Edmonton's having a little bit of a rough start too. So both of those teams have 2 wins and 4 losses in their first 6 games. So,
which is a little bit weird based off of just watching, like just doing a regular normal overview of like them last year. It is really weird watching them kind of take this little dip this early in the season.
Yeah, because Florida came out really strong this year. You know, I mean, they did win the cup, so granted they should come out strong. But Edmonton was hungry. They were pushing as hard as they could at the end of the season. So I was really expecting them to just start off this season like that too. But I don't know. Maybe there's a dynamic in the locker room that's not working to their advantage. Guys might be frustrated with each other. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's always that small little implode situation before at some point in the season. I know that really happens in like other sports too. I can only imagine it doesn't happen here.
Yeah. I mean, the dynamic in the locker room definitely. It's definitely a big part of it, I think. You want everybody to be meshing well and getting along really well and just like, having fun in the locker room before a game, it'll change the outcome completely. If everybody's like miserable in the locker room before a game, they're going to go out and it's going to show in their gameplay too.
And based off of what you were talking about before about overtime losses and things like that, as of right now, there's only 5 teams from what I've been looking at that have 2 overtime losses. That's obviously the San Jose Sharks, the Islanders, the Canucks, the Kings, and the Wild. But then when you go over to the actual regular time losses, the top 4 that don't have any are the Jets, Rangers, Flames, and the Wild. So while the Minnesota Wild lead the league in overtime losses, they're only number 4 in regular, because with no regular time losses. So that's pretty interesting for something like that. I'm getting a little bit better with this whole point system thing, but I am noticing that as of late too, because even though, like for example, like regular time losses, even though the Jets are number 1, I mean the Devils are number 1. I'm sorry. In the entire league right now, just in points, they're like, I would say not even just out of the top 10 for regular time losses with 2, and they're the first team to get it. So even though they've played 3 more games than everybody else, you're kind of noticing how significant that could be, and that's why the point system seems to be incredibly important, for hockey fans.
Keep that in mind that they've played 8 games, because they did have that overseas game before the season started, which counted towards regular season. But, I mean, the Jets are the only team who have a perfect record so far. So they're 5-0.
Yeah.
And, I mean, once they catch up to the Devils, if they play another 3 perfect games, they're going to be up at 16 points.
And then so easily how the point system changes your standings already.
Yeah, just like that. So... we're just getting started. Things are gonna these teams are gonna be moving around a lot as we hit mid-season, All-Star break, all that stuff. Usually after the All-Star break, a lot of teams tend to tighten up a lot. They get a nice little break. Some of their stars go and play in the All-Star game, and it's kind of just like a reset for a lot of teams. So.
Oh yeah, I think that pretty much happens to pretty much every sport, especially if your team is struggling going into the All-Star break, it's always good to get that kind of 3 days or 4 days off, rejuvenate, reconnect, and then just get back to what you normally do. But, obviously this year is, for me anyway, is a lot different because I'm truly focusing on this for the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be keeping mind of, which teams are heading into the All-Star break, on a hot streak, on a cold streak, and then see how they turn it around after the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's a good thing to look out for. That reminds me, so we did tell the listeners that you were going to be choosing a team.
I did. All right. So this is dropping major news here. So I have decided that I'm going to be rooting for 2 teams, one in the Eastern Conference and one in the Western Conference.
Perfect.
So I'm going to start with the Western Conference first.
Okay.
All right. I've been thinking about this for a while. Everyone's probably going to think I'm crazy, but it's okay. This year, for the 2024-2025 season, I think I'm just going to stick with the Utah Hockey Club.
Okay.
I gotta. We've been invested in this since episode 1.
Yeah, we have.
They've been playing pretty well. I was thinking, I was torn between them and the Stars and the Jets. Not because of last season, but I was just kind of looking at how I've kind of been going really deep into how all 3 teams have been playing. But there's just something about Utah that I always feel like inaugural seasons are always really important to basically tell you what that team is going to eventually end up doing later on. But yeah, so for my Western Conference team, I'm gonna ride with Utah.
Cool. I love that. That's good because they're brand new to the league. You know, they need a little fan base.
And there's no such thing as bandwagoning at this point.
No, not at all. Because they got moved from Arizona. They weren't so great in Arizona, and they got a fresh start, and they look like they're coming out strong. And I don't see them. I don't see them slowing down. I don't think they're going to be, as dominant as they were in their first couple of games as the season goes, but they're coming out strong, a lot stronger than they were in Arizona. So,
all right, now this is the real important one, the Eastern Conference.
Yes.
I took a lot more time. I took a lot more time deciding this one because, it's the Eastern Conference. Alrighty, so major news drop for the Eastern Conference team. I think I'm going to have to join you, bro. I'm going to be a New York Ranger fan.
Yes, let's go.
Let's do this.
You have to.
I have to. It's hometown, one of the hometown teams. I have always heard great things about the Rangers. It was close. I'm not going to lie. Like I said in one of the previous episodes that I was a fan of play style of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really difficult. I was torn between the Lightning and the Rangers, and obviously I'm not a bandwagoner of teams. So obviously, there was actually someone. Now that I'm talking about it, there was a listener who hit me up and said, "Oh, you're probably gonna pick Florida because they won the Stanley Cup last year," and I was like, "Nah, I'm not that type of person. I'm not that type of fan. I don't really jump on bandwagons like that." So I'm gonna be a New York Ranger fan. Let's do this.
All right, good for you, man. I like that.
All right. So now I got two teams to watch, and then maybe for you, maybe if you have a Western Conference team, maybe next episode you can definitely let the people know. But
yeah, I mean, there's a few teams I like from the West. I wouldn't really say I have a favorite, but I'll do some thinking about that. Maybe I can narrow it down to one team, and I want to be biased about it too. I don't want to just go off of how they've done in the past couple of years.
Exactly.
I was attracted to Vegas since they started because they had an amazing first year when they created the Vegas Golden Knights. But yeah, I'll do some thinking about that.
All right, cool. Maybe in a potential future episode we'll get that announcement.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So what else we got going on? Let's look at our leaders of the league right now.
Alrighty. Let's get into it.
So for points, we have our Ranger, Artemi Panarin. He's at the top. Well, he's tied. He's tied for first with Cale Makar and Sam Reinhart. Cale Makar from the Avalanche, and they're having a rough start too, but Cale Makar is stepping up and doing what he can to keep them moving forward. Sam Reinhart, there was no question about that. He was so good in the playoffs last year, and he brought his team. No, I'm not going to say he individually brought his team to win the cup, but
he did help.
He was a big part of it. He made a lot of key plays there. So, and then Panarin, Panarin has been doing really good the last couple of years. I think he's the highest paid New York Ranger. He gets $12 million a year. So he's expected to perform like this. He just had a hat trick the other night. That was cool. It was an away game, of course. Every time one of my favorite players gets a hat trick, it's an away game. So if you don't know, in hockey, when you get a hat trick, which is 3 goals, everybody in the stadium throws their hats onto the ice.
Oh, that's gangster.
So, yeah, but when it's an away game, there's no hats on the ice. So it's just
that would be kind of weird if you see random hats just get thrown on your opponent's floor.
There's always fans at away games. Not many, but there's always fans at away games, and you'll see 2 or 3 hats on the ice as compared to 50 hats on the ice.
Got it.
But it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. So, but it always works out like that. When one of my favorite players gets a hat trick, it's always at an away game. and you don't get to see like the big commotion, all the hats being thrown, and the crowd going wild. It's just like a quiet crowd.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah. Those three guys are all tied for first right now, so that's going to change over the next couple of days. Everybody's going to be playing. I think we have a lot of games tonight, I believe.
We have 16 games tonight.
Yeah, so everybody's playing tonight,
so,
pretty much.
Look how crazy this is going to be, right? So, 16 games for the NHL today. The NBA regular season starts today, too.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll brush up on that toward the end of the episode, but and there'll be a reason why we're bringing that up. But as of right now, going into the next week or so, today is the day that we have the most amount of games being played in the NHL with 16. The next highest will be on Saturday the 26th with 14. Mm-hmm. And, just seeing all these matchups that I've been, scrolling through as we've been talking, it's just Jesus Christ with the amount of... Oh, God, I'm loving this right now.
Yeah, with hockey, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get like a Tuesday or a Wednesday is just gonna be loaded up with games. Everyone's gonna be playing, and then the next day will be a little lighter. Like tomorrow, there's only one game.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
Yesterday there was only one game, so it kind of goes like that. Because they also have to coordinate with the NFL, if there's big NFL games on, they're not going to put Sunday is not going to be a huge hockey night because everyone's watching football on Sundays. And now the NBA, they're gonna have to coordinate with the NBA too because a lot of teams share their arena
with some of the other
with the NBA team. Yeah. So at Madison Square Garden, the Knicks and the Rangers aren't going to play on the same night.
And I know the LA Kings share the same arena with the LA Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but there's a lot of cities that have their own hockey arena, especially in Canada. It's a Canadian.
Well, they have a whole country.
So, yeah. So, and they got a lot of teams too. So.
They do.
But they're big. Canadians love their hockey. They make it a big priority, kind of like in the U.S. we do with baseball. In Canada, they love their hockey, and they're not really going to have their team sharing,
with anybody. I get it.
Yeah. So, okay. So yeah, points. That's going to change up a little bit. You got those three guys tied for first. You got three guys tied for fourth, too. So we could be seeing some 1, 2, and 3 coming up, too, instead of these tied for first, tied for fourth situations going on. You got Mikko Rantanen. He's tied for fourth at the top, 11 points. So he's just behind Sam Reinhart, Cale Makar, Panarin, Cale Makar, and Mikko Rantanen. They're on the same team. They're both on Colorado, and they're putting up points right now. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh, and Nathan McKinnon. You got three guys at the top of the points leaderboard here, all from Colorado.
Gotta love that.
Colorado is struggling.
Which is insane because it's kind of you got these three guys who are leading these packs.
Also though, so I had Alexander Georgiev as my goalie on my fantasy team, and he was losing me points the first 3 games, so I dropped him. And I think that's a big part of it. Their goalie is not doing great. I think I heard somewhere that he got pulled in 3 games so far, so they put in their backup goalie.
Oh, wow.
In 3 games so far. So I think they're just getting scored on a lot.
Well, I mean, does that happen often?
Not with him, Usually, in hockey, teams really only pull their goalie if they're down 3 or 4 goals. And it doesn't have to be it's not even if it's like a total of 3 goals in the game, but like if they get scored on like 3 goals in one period, or like back to back, like they get scored on twice and then like 2 more back to back goals, they're gonna get pulled.
Got it.
So yeah, he had to have had like a couple streaks where he's just letting up like lousy goals, you know. Because I mean, if it's not his fault, it's not his fault. But if he's making bad plays, bad decisions behind the net, then yeah, he's gonna get pulled.
Oh, I definitely got to keep a little closer eye on that, just because, you know, I have noticed that when I've looked at the highlights of the week, you know, I have seen some teams kind of pull their goalies, and I've always just was curious of whether that was like a tactical ploy or was that like they just weren't doing well. So.
Yeah, it's usually if a goalie's not doing well or if they get injured or something.
Got
But
it.
I mean, talking about goalies, so at the top of the leaderboard for the goalies, we have Connor Hellebuck from the Winnipeg Jets, who are sitting with a perfect record right now. Second, you got Lankinen from Vancouver. Where are they at in the standings? They're a little farther down in the standings, but their goaltending seems to be pretty good. It looks like
They're 18th right now.
Yeah, they're 18th.
In points, I mean. If we're gonna go by record and everything.
They only scored 14 goals up to this point, and they've let in 15. So that confuses me a little bit of how Lankinen is at the number 2 spot.
I mean, it kind of seems like, I mean, that's only like a margin of like 0.1? Something like that?
Yeah, -1. I mean, his save percentage is high, .953. He's tied with Jake Ottinger from Dallas for save percentage. So, I don't know, I have to look a little deeper into that. But, and then after that, you got Jake Ottinger for goals against average. And then Gustafsson from Minnesota. Then Stolars from Toronto, and then Igor Shesterkin from the Rangers. So those guys are all doing well in net so far, and that's pretty much expected, especially with Connor Hellebuck, because they have a perfect season so far.
That does kind of make sense because they're obviously they're undefeated, so they're really not. And if you look back at some of their games, I highly doubt that you'll see any discrepancies when it comes to like point differentials.
Yeah,
because I know for the Jets, from what I've seen, their point differentials is plus 16.
Yeah, so that's good. That's really good. They're scoring goals too. So, yeah, I mean, the only thing like they're coming out really strong because you know they got knocked out of the first round of the playoffs last year. So I think they're going to try to make up for that a little bit this year. I mean, they were a really strong team last year, too. I think they could have made it a lot further. They ended up losing to Colorado 4-1, so they almost got swept there.
Well, you know what happens when you have, like, when a team has done really well, especially the year before, and they go out in dramatic fashion in the playoffs. So it's like they're always coming back with a chip on their shoulder because it's kind of like, you know, well, we were a good team, or, you know, and we deserved to have an opportunity to go further, but, you know, unfortunately, it didn't go their way. So, which is why I'm kind of noticing that, like, at least with the Jets, we're kind of noticing that they're trying to come out strong and, like, be the first one to always provide the knockout punch.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah, they're a solid club. I don't know. They could have been going through some stuff last year when it came to the playoffs. So
Very true, very true.
Good team for sure. Then, you know, if we're going to look at goals, we got Nikita Kucherov at the top. I think he finished the year last year. Yeah, so he was the top point scorer, or the top point scorer last year. He had 144 points for the 23-24 season. Nikita Kucherov from Tampa Bay Lightning. The guy's just a beast. He's not going to slow down this year. He's just going to keep going with that. So
I mean, I think he's leading right now this year in goals too.
Yeah, he's leading. Right now, he's leading in goals. He has 7 goals. Panarin has 6. You can thank his hat trick for that too. His 6 goals right there. Cole Caulfield has 6. Ross Colton has 6, and then Sam Reinhart from Florida has 5. So that's a neck to neck lineup right there. That'll change real soon too. Tonight, it's gonna change tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the games that are going on for starting this evening.
Yeah,
because I think the Lightning are playing the Devils. Yeah, from what I'm seeing, so Lightning are playing the Devils, Rangers are playing the Canadians. So sorry, I've also been fighting a cold too. So if you hear me cough, I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
So as of right now, the Cole Caulfield and Panarin are going to be going up against each other today.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to Colton and Reinhart, Colton is playing the Kraken today, while Reinhart is, let me see, so many games here, Jesus. They're playing the Minnesota Wild. So
yeah.
A lot of things, and as of right now, we're not sponsored, but DraftKings Sportsbook is projecting the Panthers to win. They're also predicting the Devils to win, the Rangers to win, and the Colorado Avalanche to win. Based off of those top 4 goal scorers.
Yeah, well, we need to see a win from the Avalanche. They need to get those numbers up quick.
Well, let's see. Maybe it'll start today. They're playing the Kraken, so
another good team,
which has been doing really well. I mean, it's just insane because I'm looking at the standings still, and as of right now, the Kraken are 12th, and then you have the Avalanche at 28, and it's damn, what is going on in Colorado?
Yeah, that's the problem, though. That's the problem with it being so early in the season. It's only a 2-game difference, so it's so hard to tell what's going to happen right now. But,
exactly.
The
beginning of any season is always difficult because your team can go on an 0-5 run in the beginning. For example, look at the Predators, right? So a couple episodes back, we were talking about how they signed 3 really great veterans.
Yeah.
And they're 0-5.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what is happening right now?
That's what I'm saying.
But then again, it's they can go on this mini slump right now, and then just before the All-Star break, they could be going on a 5 or 6 game win streak.
Yeah.
And then finish out the season maybe in the top 5.
Yeah, they definitely could. I think for them, I kind of saw this coming a little bit because they brought in 3 big names onto their already. They had a pretty good team last year.
Yeah.
So they just need to, get their dynamic together, maybe accept these new guys and learn to work together. And I think they're just figuring things out right now. But I think they'll get it situated, and I think they'll find a way to put pucks in the net.
I mean, they were just outside the top 10 last year with 99 points. So it's the ceiling doesn't seem to be too high, especially with the fact that you're adding 3 really well-known players to your team. Right, I just think this is for many teams. I think this is just a hiccup in the road. look, the Oilers too. They're 29th.
Yeah,
and they were just in the Stanley Cup final last year. So it's there may be what's called trouble in paradise right now, but I highly doubt you'll see many of these teams at the bottom remain at the bottom.
Yeah, and I mean the Oilers have somebody like McDavid, and he just puts on a switch where he kind of just does his thing. Once his team starts falling behind a little bit, he'll kind of just take it into his own hands a little bit, and he does some amazing stuff on his own.
Yeah, so. I call stuff like that superstar 1A syndrome.
Okay.
It's just something that I just coined because it's like in any sport. They'll be the team will go through a drought, and their superstar will be it's all right, hop on my back, I will lead us.
Yeah, it's almost when he gets mad, he plays better. You'll just see him you'll just see him skate through like the whole team and score. You know.
Yeah, because
Like, nobody can touch him.
it does become a little like as a nuisance at times. You know, so you gotta do what you gotta do to get your team back in the win column.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we'll keep an eye on the games tonight. I think we're gonna do a couple episodes more this week too.
Yeah, we do. We are going to be playing catch up since we were not able to drop an official episode last week. We are going to be doing some live reactions on the X. So if you're interested in, hearing our thoughts, you can definitely, jump on there and reach out to us. It's going to be NHL on X _. Again, that's NHL on X _. Throughout the games today, Cody and I will be giving our thoughts about how the games have been going so far. And then probably by the end of the last game, which I believe is being played at 11, obviously because of the West Coast teams. So we're probably looking at maybe 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll probably have a full-on synopsis probably by the next episode talking about what we thought about everything that's being played on today, Tuesday, October 22nd.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have some reactions to those games that we mentioned and some of these top of the leaderboard point scorers, goal scorers, and assists.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, we will see you again this week.
All right, see you guys a little bit later. Peace.